Good evening, you're watching Mission 2024. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Let me take you through the headlines. The big inheritance tax showdown continues. Prime Minister Modi says Rajiv Gandhi ended it to secure Indira's assets. Congress Chief Kharge writes to Modi, seeks meeting to educate him on the party's manifesto.
श्रीमान राजीव गांधी ने अपनी संपत्ति बचाने के लिए पहले जो इनहेरिटेंस कानून था उसको समाप्त किया और खुद के पैसे बचा लिए।
Big Muslim quota fight in Karnataka. Prime Minister Modi reiterates his attack, says Congress will snatch OBC quota and offer it to Muslims. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah hits back, claims quota in existence for last 20 years. The fact check on that, he is right. It was Devagowda, H.D. Devagowda, who started the quota much earlier. Election Commission cracks the whip on hate speeches, seeks reply from BJP and Congress party chief over alleged poll code violations by Prime Minister Modi and Rahul Gandhi. India Today News breaks at the agenda. Amid speculation, Rahul may fight from Amethi after Wayanad. Akhilesh Yadav drops a hint. Sources say Rahul may file nomination on the 1st of May. Pro-Palestine protests erupt across multiple Ivy League campuses in the United States, from Columbia University and Southern California. Big showdowns erupt in Ivy League institutions. Cops crack down on protesters. Our top focus, it's the second phase of polling come tomorrow morning. Whereas 88 seats across the country will go to elections. All eyes on voting of the second phase of election. Campaign for phase 2 concluded yesterday. Voting in 88 seats across 13 states to take place on the 26th of April. In this phase of polling is scheduled for Kerala, Karnataka. All of Kerala votes in a single phase. Karnataka, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh and West Bengal. And one seat each in Manipur, Tripura and Jammu and Kashmir also polls tomorrow. Prominent contestants include Congress leader Rahul Gandhi from Wayanad, Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who is contesting against Shashi Tharoor of the Congress in Thiruvananthapuram. Additionally, Hema Malini from Mathura, Arun Govil from Meerut, from former Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy from Mandya, and independent candidate Pappu Yadav from Purnia. All right, let's cut across to our battery of reporters getting us the latest from Karnataka. Joining me live is Sagai, Kerala Shilpa Nair, Maharashtra we'll be joined by Abhijit, Rajasthan Dev, Ankur Vadhavan. But first up, cutting across to Sagai. Sagai, give us the latest. How many seats in Karnataka? What can we expect? What are the seats to watch out for?
14 seats in the first phase of Karnataka, but it is second phase across the country. And important seats would be Mandya, where former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy is contesting from there against Congress candidate Star Chandru, and Mysore, where Yaduvir Krishnadatta Chamarajawadiya's son Yaduvir is contesting from Mysore. And talking about the other seats will be Bengaluru South, where Tejasvi Surya will be taking against sitting Minister Ramaling Reddy's daughter Soumya Reddy. And thereafter you get Bengaluru Rural, where DK Shivkumar brother DK Suresh will be taking against NDA candidate CN Manjunath. These are the interesting seats. Remember last time in the 2019, out of 28 seats, BJP had won 25 seats, 3 won by the other parties, including JDS, Congress, and an independent candidate. Congress had only 1 seat, that is from Bengaluru Rural. And this time, more paramilitary forces has been deployed in Bengaluru Rural, where the Election Commission of Karnataka believe that it is quite sensitive area. And apart from that, even the Mysuru, there are more paramilitary forces. More than 50,000 police personnel have been deployed across 14 seats in the state of Karnataka.
It's in the state of Karnataka. All eyes on Kerala as well, because Shilpa, the entire state votes in a single phase tomorrow. What are you expecting? What are the key seats to watch out for?
Well, yes, Preeti, in fact, a big day for Kerala tomorrow. The entire state goes to polls in the second phase of elections. And as far as Kerala is concerned, in several constituencies, it is a tight contest between the LDF and the UDF, the Congress-led UDF. But there are certain constituencies where it's a very interesting three-cornered fight that has been playing out. For instance, at the Thiruvananthapuram seat, which has been keenly looked at by political observers, even at the national level. There, of course, Congress's Shashi Tharoor is taking on BJP's Rajiv Chandrasekhar, and the CPI has fielded Pannin Ravindran, a very popular face on the ground. So very interesting three-cornered fight, taking place there. Shashi Tharoor, of course, is the incumbent MP there, and probably this is the first time that he's facing a very tight contest from that seat. And we saw massive war of words erupting between Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Shashi Tharoor through the course of these, last couple of days in Trivandrum. The other such seat is, of course, Thrissur, where the BJP sees a lot of hope. The BJP has fielded actor politician Suresh Gopi from that seat. He's contested twice from Thrissur seat, but he was defeated. But this time around, BJP has a lot of confidence, and that also explains the fact that the Prime Minister, remember, has chosen to visit Thrissur constituency at least twice or thrice in the last couple of months. So he has, of course, spent a lot of his political capital in Thrissur, believing that this is a seat that they can easily win this time around. But not making it easy for the BJP. The Congress, of course, fielded Muralidharan from that seat, and also the CPI has fielded Sunil Kumar, yet another popular face. So even though before the candidate list was announced, it was believed that BJP has a very high chance in Thrissur. When the candidates of the other parties were announced, it became clear that it is not going to be a cakewalk for Suresh Gopi. It will go down to the wire, and that's precisely what has, of course, happened in Thrissur. And adding to that, of course, the latest controversy regarding Thrissur Puram. It's a festival in Thrissur. It's celebrated by each and every Malayali, especially people living in Thrissur. There was a lot of controversy regarding the temple festival that took place just few days back. There were a lot of police restrictions, and that has not gone down well locally. People are upset with the state government. So whether or not that will have an impact on the electoral prospects of the LDF, and also will it have an advantage, will it give an advantage to Suresh Gopi, that remains to be seen. Yet another seat, of course, is Wayanad. It assumed national significance when Rahul Gandhi, of course, decided to contest from that seat in 2019. He won there with a huge margin, and 2024 he's repeating it. He's been re-nominated from the constituency, although there's been a lot of controversy regarding that decision because at the national level, the Congress is fighting the elections as part of the India Alliance. But in Wayanad, Rahul Gandhi, the most prominent face of the Congress party, is taking on an India Alliance partner, that is CPI's Annie Raja. And that of course, that messaging was questioned by many political observers, believe that that was a wrong signal to send out by the Congress party. But they stood firm. Rahul Gandhi says Wayanad is his second home, and he has a lot of attachment to the people of Wayanad. He considers them family, is what Rahul Gandhi kept repeating. And he, of course, decided to go ahead and contest once again from the Wayanad seat. There, of course, even though, despite knowing that it's a Congress stronghold and the Congress has fielded its prominent face, Rahul Gandhi, there, the BJP does not want it to be an easy cakewalk for the Congress. And for that reason, they have fielded K. Surendran, the party's state president here in Kerala. So very, very interesting fights in some of these constituencies, even though many political observers believe that it is going to be advantage UDF, advantage Congress this time around, but none of the other parties are giving it an easy contest, making it an easy contest.
All right, none of the other parties making it an easy contest. In 2019, this is how it stacked up where the constituency of Wayanad was concerned. At that time, Rahul Gandhi got 65% of the vote share, but this time around, the left candidate is also quite popular. Let's quickly shift focus now to the state of Maharashtra, because viewers, Maharashtra seemingly the outlier, or many would suggest even by our own standard. The state of Maharashtra is giving in more in terms of our Mood of the Nation survey, where it comes down to the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Joining me from there is my colleague Abhijit with the very latest. Abhijit, what to expect from Maharashtra? Take us through while I turn to our election intelligence dashboard.
As we know, Preeti, Maharashtra is in a very difficult state to make any comment politically right now. But tomorrow, at least 8 constituencies are going for a poll. And these 8 constituencies from Vidarbha and Marathwada belongs to NDA in 2019. And the most prestigious seats in Maharashtra tomorrow where they are going to poll is in Amravati and Nanded. Amravati, from where Navneet Rana is contesting the seat from the BJP in last election, 2019, she contested as an independent candidate and she sought support from NCP and Congress. Even Sharad Pawar was there to campaign for her in last election. But right now, she is contesting from the BJP, and Congress candidate Balwant Wankhede has created a huge challenge for her there. As we know that Prahar party, Bachchu Kadu, who belongs to Prahar and supported the Shinde government, and he also given a candidate there as Dinesh Boob, who is fighting against the Rana. So that is a triangular fight in Amravati. So it is very interesting to see what happened in Amravati tomorrow, as there is a very crucial fight. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah ji also contested, also campaigned for Navneet Rana. Second seat, which is very crucial for BJP, is in Nanded. Nanded is the very bastion for Ashok Chauhan, the ex-Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Last time Ashok Chauhan was contesting from the Nanded, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi was campaigning against him, and he was created an issue like Adarsh scam and all. But after 2019, in last 4 years, the equations has changed drastically and dramatically. After his name came out in white paper in Lok Sabha, he switched the party, and he is now with the BJP MP on Rajya Sabha. He and BJP is fighting for the BJP candidate Pratap Rao Chikhlikar, who won the election from Nanded in last 2019 elections. So these out of 8 seats, 4 seats belongs to the Shiv Sena and 4 seats belongs to the BJP. But now there are only 3 seats where Shiv Sena is fighting against the Shiv Sena. That is Buldhana Pratap Rao Jadhav, who is a 5-time MP from Buldhana, and there is another seat, Yavatmal Washim, where the candidate has been changed dramatically after announcement of Hemant Patil. Now Baburao Kadam, who is a Shinde supporter, is fighting from Shiv Sena.
Out of the 8. Now this was where Abhijit, this was where in 2019, the part of Maharashtra where you see a sea of saffron of sorts. If you look at the current context, the India Alliance have only won, others won. But this is the equation that the Maha Vikas Aghadi would want to change this time around. We're going to come right back to it. Because let's now quickly cut across to the state of Rajasthan. 13 seats from Rajasthan up for polls in the second phase. And let's look at that, because the equations change this time around. Because the first phase, where 12 of the seats had gone in Rajasthan, that was the time where at least assembly elections were concerned. It was the Congress that was on an advantage. This time around, if you look at it, now this is just, of course, the last time around, because the BJP had a 10% vote when it came down seats, when it came down to Rajasthan, 25 on 25. A vote share highest in the country of 58%. But this area, which you see has already voted, was advantage Congress if you go by assembly vote standards. And if you go by assembly voting, which happened just about 4 months ago, this was a sea of saffron. So this is where the BJP would hope to capitalize and gain 13 seats going into vote. Joining me is Dev Ankur Vadhavan from there. Dev, you know, if we micro dive into important seats. The seat of Jalore, where Ashok Gehlot's son fighting, many would suggest it's Ashok Gehlot himself who's taking on the local BJP unit. The seat of Barmer, very interesting, and I would think personally I'd want to watch out for how Gajendra Shekhawat does on the seat of Jodhpur.
Oh, absolutely, Preeti. In fact, several interesting contests are there in the offing. You have named 3 seats, including the one of Jodhpur. What locals have been saying is that, the BJP has, so much that it can lose. The Congress has everything to gain, given the fact that in 2014 and 2019, it had lost all the seats in the 25 seats that went to elections in Rajasthan. The Barmer-Jaisalmer constituency, extremely interesting. It has become a triangular contest. You visited the area. The fact that Ravinder Singh Bhati has jumped into the fray, an independent contestant, has made it, all the more interesting. Jodhpur, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, sitting Union Cabinet Minister, up against Karan Singh Uchiada of the Congress. Several say that it will be very difficult for the BJP to maintain the same margin from which Gajendra Singh Shekhawat had won in 2019. But then there are several strongholds as well of the BJP, Preeti. Bhilwara, Chittorgarh, Rajsamand, this entire belt is considered to be the stronghold of the BJP. In fact, the seat of Bhilwara, the BJP had won by a margin of almost 6 lakh votes. That was the maximum margin with which the BJP had won in 2019 in the entire state. The seat of Jalore, you mentioned, the Rajasthan former Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot's son is contesting from there, Vaibhav Gehlot. I will be stationed in Jalore tomorrow and will be trying to get each and every update possible from their important updates. But the fact remains that the Congress believes that it is in the race. Several of the Congress candidates, Congress leaders that I've spoken to, maintain that they will be performing better than the BJP. And there is the difference between the BJP and the Congress. While the Congress says it will be performing better than the BJP claims that for the 3rd time it will be winning 25 out of 25 seats in the desert state of Rajasthan. Preeti?
Well, it remains to be seen how it pans out. At least if you look at it, it's advantage the BJP in this phase of election. However, if you look at 2019, it should have been advantage BJP throughout the state of Rajasthan. But viewers, once again, a quick look. This is what it looked like in 2019. Now let's focus on the state of Uttar Pradesh. Interesting developments today. But before we get down to that, a quick look on what to expect tomorrow. 8 seats are going up for voting in the second phase, most of them coming in from Western Uttar Pradesh. If you look at it, the math stands at NDA at 7 and others at 1. If you go back, hark back to 2019, this blip that you see in a sea of saffron there, it was the seat of Amroha. And we're going to get you more. Danish Ali stands from there, from the India Alliance this time. He was in the BSP in 2019. But the big development that I was talking about, viewers, and that comes in from Kannauj, where you had Akhilesh Yadav, who filed his nomination today from the seat of Kannauj, going into elections in the 4th phase, I beg your pardon, in Uttar Pradesh. And he decided to get his nephew, Tej Pratap Singh, to pull back his nomination, and replace him was Akhilesh, who, as per him, took his party workers' advice and said that he is the one who's going to contest. Right ahead of filing his nomination, Akhilesh shared an old picture of filing his nomination from Kannauj. It was his first election that he had fought from Kannauj. Meanwhile, SP's former ally RLD hit out at Akhilesh. RLD Chief Jayant Chaudhary said that there was only confusion in the Samajwadi Party and that there was always uncertainty. Remember, Akhilesh's wife Dimple Yadav lost from Kannauj in 2019. So will Akhilesh win from Kannauj against BJP Shubrat Pathak, who also filed his nomination today?
यहाँ के लोगों की मदद, यहाँ के कारोबार, यहाँ के लोगों की खुशहाली के लिए, और जो विकास रुक गया है, जो विकास थम गया है, जिस विकास को जानबूझ करके बीजेपी के लोगों ने इसलिए रोका क्योंकि समाजवादियों ने वो काम शुरू किए थे। बीजेपी के लोगों ने नकारात्मक राजनीति की, उनकी भाषा, उनका व्यवहार, उनका काम करने का तरीका, यहाँ की जनता एक बार फिर प्यार, मोहब्बत, मिलीजुली संस्कृति, आपस में भाईचारा, उसका दौर शुरू करेगा।
उन्होंने ही तो इस देश का ये स्थिति किया। पाकिस्तान एक बड़ा हिस्सा हमारे देश का एक टुकड़ा हमसे अलग कर दिया। वहां हमारे 27% जो हमारी आबादी थी आज खत्म हो गई। आज कोई वहां नाम लेने वाला नहीं है, मंदिर जाने वाला कोई पाकिस्तान में बचा नहीं है, कोई जाता भी नहीं है। 14-15 साल की लड़की उठा लिया जाता है, जबरदस्ती 70 साल के बुढ़े के साथ निकाह करा दिया जाता है। ये हो रहा है वहां पाकिस्तान में, यही इनकी हिंदुस्तान में करने की तैयारी है। और तभी अखिलेश जैसे नेता इन आतंकियों को, इन माफियाओं को संरक्षित करते हैं और इनको पोषित करते हैं।
All right, Akhilesh Yadav filing his nominations from the seat of Kannauj in Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh tomorrow, of course, the west part of UP going into elections, 8 seats. But another state to watch out for tomorrow, viewers, is West Bengal. Because the 3 seats which are once again up for elections in West Bengal, all 3 of them with the NDA, which is the Bharatiya Janata Party. You see, the north there, that's where the BJP dominated. These 3 seats again, we're going to see a lot of action, hopefully not violence, which we saw in the first phase in the other 3 seats up north that went to vote. So all eyes on tomorrow when India votes in the second phase, 13 states, 88 seats.